Good evening and welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi coming to you from our Washington, D.C. studio after spending the day at the White House absolutely killing it. What a day it's been, folks. We are now on day 59 of President Trump's historic second term, and America is witnessing a transformation the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. Tonight, we're streaming live to millions worldwide across YouTube, Rumble, and X, and let me tell you something, the algorithms are trying to bury the show because we're telling truths that terrify the establishment. So do me a favor right now, grab your phone and text this stream link to 5 friends. That's how we bypass big tech censorship, person to person, patriot to patriot. Now, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you follow us on all platforms immediately. The information we're about to share tonight is being actively suppressed everywhere else. And for our loyal viewers, we see you in the chat. Your reactions and insights are a crucial part of the show. And tonight we'll be featuring your comments on the screen for the world to see. Speaking of which, we'll be reading your super chats and Rumble rants between segments. And yes, they get priority treatment. Your support literally keeps independent journalism alive in America. That's why we need your donations to continue this fight for truth. So just check the links in the description to contribute whatever you can. Now, let's get to tonight's explosive lineup. We're tracking a major security situation at CIA headquarters where SWAT teams descended after an armed individual barricaded the facility suspiciously right after the JFK files were released. Just a coincidence? You decide. But there are no coincidences in this town. We've also got some breaking news on President Trump's groundbreaking call with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy outlining a bold nuclear power facility proposal that could reshape the entire conflict. While the deep state warmongers push for endless war, Trump is forging a path to peace in just 59 days. Then, we'll expose the left's violent rampage against American innovation as Tesla dealerships continue to face terrorist attacks from radical activists. Elon Musk says it's because they're successfully fighting corruption, and he's absolutely right. We'll also break down how Trump's America First strategy is demolishing the globalist agenda, securing our borders, and bringing manufacturing back home. The numbers don't lie. America is winning again. And finally, we're covering the total implosion of the Democrat Party as Trump's administration racks up win after win. Are you tired of winning yet? Yes, they are scrambling for relevance in a country that's just moving on without them. By the way, we have launched our YouTube channel memberships. We have over 1,000 members now. It's amazing and it's exciting. And you guys have members have exclusive access, levels, exclusive perks, special acknowledgement in the chat, and even access to our private Discord server where you guys can chat the night away even when we are not live. And don't forget to check out the merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com where you can get limited edition Next News swag to show the world where you get your real news. So stick around, Patriots. Your super chats will be read between segments. Your comments will be featured on the screen. And the truth will be told without filter or apology. This is the Raw Feed, and the establishment fears what happens next. So let's get started and welcome you to the show. All right, we have Linda's looking. Big stormy night in Monticello, where there's more than corn in Indiana. Jeremy Olson's here. Maria is here. Hazel Osterhout is here. We've got Jerome in the house. Our Boyd Wisteria, Pothead Kenny, Shadow Watcher Craig, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. Threads of Hera in the house. We've got check 1, check 2, Sibylis, and Sure You and Jerome and Mary Jo, Burju 315 in Texas. We got Patricia Duff, Sammy B.A. We've got, who else is in here? Craig and our boy Jonathan C. Nitro Burp, Messenger Emmett, Jose Alberto. We've got Mary Jo and Crazy Cat Lady in Sheridan, Texas. Parmas Dax in the house. Common Sense is finally here. We've got Cyberneonic, that's how you pronounce it. We got Falcon 07. We've got Brenda and Wayne. Oh boy, what else? We've got Black Wolf and Mary Jo. We got Alton Blanchard in the house. We've got All Word X Chippewas here. Heather Reeve, almost missed it. Not a chance. Who else? Come on, guys. Sound off in the comments, man. You guys want the shout out? This is it. This is the time when we shout you out. Where are you watching from? What is your device? Jeremy, Parmas, Sabrina, James Bond is here. Harold Hawkins, Bearded Roofer, Soul Traveler, La Walker, Jamie Misi 9, Mississippi's in the house, WM Moran, James Inman, Tom B420, American Girls here, Ari's Vixen, David Kaz in Webster, Texas. What's up, Kaz? We got MAF, Diane, Jason. We got Kiraro Tasu in the house. Who else is here? We've got El Kep, American Nana, Clutch in Quartzside, Arizona. What's up, man? We got Steve Gillings here, and we've also got Rick in rural Missouri, Janelle Murphy from Texas. What's up, Janelle? And Barlow, you look great in your blue suit today. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, there we go. There's Ann. My wife's like, you got to wear that suit every day at the White House. And I'm like, oh, man, I can't keep going to the White House in the same blue suit like 5 days in a row. I don't know. Should I do that? You guys tell me if I should or not. I don't know. I have other suits, but that one was custom made for me. So it fits like a glove. I could wear it all day long, and it's so comfortable. Like, literally, it's the best suit that I own. Everything else is like, ugh. I don't know. But you guys tell me. What do you want me to do? Should I just say, screw it, just wear the blue suit all week? Just change my tie out? I don't know. That guy's wearing the same blue suit again. What? All right. But I don't care what they think, right? Because I care about the truth. And that's what we're going to get into in our first topic of the night. So let's get it on. Let's get it on. Right? Thanks for that, Ann. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm looking at your comments. Nice sunburn. Yeah, straight up. I had the sunburn. Oh, Mama Bear says, no, change it up, she says. You guys see me in the press room today? Did you see me? Oh, wait, do you see? I got some clips here. I was actually on screen today. My wife's sending me pictures. And people on X are posting pictures of me, and they caught me on television. That was so cool. Anyway, okay, let's go. Brian, clock it up. Let's roll. Right now, you're witnessing history in the making. The Democrat Party is experiencing what can only be described as a complete structural collapse. I was on the ground in D.C. today at the White House, folks, right in the belly of the beast, and I can tell you firsthand the panic is palpable. The EPA is streamlining emergency responses. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is creating a sovereign wealth fund that will generate actual assets for Americans instead of debt. And Secretary Kristi Noem is hunting down swatters targeting conservative media. Meanwhile, manufacturing is surging beyond expectation. Gas prices are dropping thanks to Trump's National Energy Dominance Council. This isn't just governance. It's a masterclass in effective leadership that has left Democrats scrambling for any foothold in a rapidly changing America. As we step into 2025, one thing is clear: de-dollarization is not stopping. It's accelerating. China and other BRICS nations are scared of President Trump, and it's making them more determined to reduce their dependence on the U.S. dollar. Their secret weapon is gold. In fact, China resumed buying gold, and they underreport their buys. Doesn't it make you wonder why? They recognize its global value and ability to withstand economic shocks. Gold is a global asset with innate value. It's tangible, reliable, and immune to economic manipulation. China and other countries, they want to be prepared, they just don't want it known. But isn't this isn't just about nations, it's about you. In a world of shifting economic power, gold is your personal hedge against uncertainty. Noble Gold Investments can help secure your future. Visit nextnewsgold.com, it's linked down below, to learn more and find out how you can get 10 free silver coins. The number's on the screen, 877-646-5347. Tell them Gary Franchi at Next News sent you. Okay, let's get into it now. Here's what happened. We have this is on-the-ground reporting from just earlier today. You're going to see it here. We publish it to X. If you're not following us on X, you need to find it. You need to follow us there. Here we go. But there's no audio? No audio at all? Well, there was audio before. Just a moment, folks.
Radical left, from shuttle diplomacy to crushing lawsuits.
Okay, I'll start it over, Brian. Just cut it in. Thank you.
This is Gary Franchi reporting from just outside the White House with the Next News Network. And folks, you know, we're one of the few outlets in the press briefing room that isn't peddling fake news. While the mainstream clowns twist the truth, we are bringing you the real deal straight from the source. Today is March 19th, 2025. It's a big day at the White House. President Trump is on fire. He's working overtime to fix the messes left by Sleepy Joe and the radical left. From shuttle diplomacy to crushing lawsuits, we have the scoop. So buckle up, because this is what winning looks like, and nobody does it better than our fearless leader, Donald J. Trump. So let's dive in with all of the details. At 11 a.m. Eastern, President Trump kicked off his day in the Oval Office with his intelligence briefing. It was closed to the press because, unlike the Biden circus, this administration doesn't leak like a sieve. The man's focus, he's getting the raw intel that he needs to keep America first. But the real action? Well, right now, as I speak, Trump is on the phone with Ukraine's Zelenskyy. This comes hot off of his call with Russia's Vladimir Putin just yesterday. That's right, Trump is playing 4D chess while the world watches in awe. A White House official says the call is in progress, and a Zelenskyy spokesman confirmed it's going down. Why? Because Trump is the only one who can untangle this Ukraine-Russia mess. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, great guy, by the way, he was out front at 8:27 this morning. He was talking to reporters at a press gaggle, and he laid it out plain and simple. Shuttle diplomacy is difficult. It's tough, but we are going back and forth at every level, driving both sides towards a ceasefire and driving both sides towards the end of this war, end quote. That's what leadership looks like, folks. Waltz said that he's been on the horn with his Russian counterpart, and his call lined up with Ukrainian officials today. And someone actually shouted about foreign aid, and Waltz shut it down, didn't even dignify the response. Now, this is Trump's team at work. No games, just results. I mean, look, the fake news wants you to think that Trump's abandoning Ukraine. Absolutely wrong. He's forcing both sides to the table because he knows endless wars drain America dry. Biden and his cronies sent billions overseas while our borders crumbled. And Trump is fixing that. Zelenskyy is probably sweating right now, realizing he's dealing with a real negotiator, not some pushover. This is what strength looks like, and it's why the world respects us once again. And of course, in just a few moments at 1 o'clock, we've got the White House press secretary hitting the James S. Brady briefing room right here. It's all going to be on camera. I'll be inside, so expect the usual suspects to lob grenades or whine about Trump's success. But we will be here, cutting through the noise. While that's brewing, let's talk about a huge win for American business. Ripple CEO Brad Glaringhouse just dropped a bombshell. The SEC's lawsuit against them, done, finished, kaput. This case has ended. It's over. That's what he said. That's right, friends. The Trump effect is already crushing the deep state's war on crypto. Under Biden, these bureaucrats harass innovators like Ripple nonstop. Now with Trump back, they're running scared. This is a victory for jobs, for freedom, and for sticking it to the swamp. So think about it. Trump's barely 2 months in. He's already delivering. The SEC's backing off because they know the big guy's watching. Glaringhouse and Ripple, they fought the good fight, and now they are free to keep building. This is what happens when you have got a president who gets it, someone who's been a businessman, not a career leech. The left's probably crying into their soy lattes right now, but for the rest of us, it is morning in America again. But I'm not done. We need to get serious. Juanita Broderick, yes, that Juanita Broderick, just got swatted today. About 10 cops and a SWAT team rolled up to her place after a fake call claiming 2 masked men were inside shooting people. This is absolutely disgusting, but it's not a one-off. InfoWars' Owen Schroyer, he got hit with the same nonsense overnight. The FBI director has vowed to investigate, but of course, where was the FBI when the left was weaponizing this garbage against Trump's allies? Broderick and Schroyer, they're patriots speaking truth to power, and this is how the radical left thanks them. Cowardly pranks that could get someone killed. But this is the deep state's playbook. silence the good guys. And Trump's been saying it for years. They'll stop at nothing to shut down anyone who loves this country. But here's the thing. We're not scared. Broderick's tough as nails. Schroyer is a warrior. And Trump has got their backs. The FBI better get to the bottom of this fast because Americans are fed up with these games. It's time to drain the swamp for good. That's all for now, folks. President Trump's making waves from ending wars to crushing the SEC to protecting patriots like Juanita and Owen. This is why we voted for him. He's a fighter, and he's winning. Now, you won't get this from the fake news clowns, but you'll get it from us, a real network like us. Yes, I'm Gary Franchi with the Next News Network, reporting straight here on the ground from the White House. So share this post, subscribe to the Next News Network, and let's keep the truth alive. This is Gary Franchi.
Let's keep the truth alive, folks. Yep. We got some more breaking news from the White House. The press briefing just ended. And what did we learn? Trump is delivering real peace in Ukraine, but it's what wasn't discussed as setting the stage for the biggest economic shakeup in history, eliminating the IRS, whistleblowers, Ron Paul, and more. Listen to this.
That's right, Butch Wilmore. This is Gary Franchi, Chief White House Correspondent with the Next News Network. Today, in this White House briefing, we saw exactly what we've come to expect. Trump's press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, laying out the facts while the media struggled to keep up. Right off the top, we got confirmation of something Biden could never pull off: rescuing American astronauts stuck in space. That's right, Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams, who were supposed to be gone for 8 days, were left floating up there for 9 months, thanks to the incompetence of the previous administration. Yes, it took President Trump, along with Elon Musk and SpaceX, to bring them home. And the contrast could not be clearer. Trump acts and Biden dithers. Then we learned Trump's commitment to peace is making real progress. While the Biden years were filled with war hawks and defense contractors getting rich off endless conflict, Trump has both Putin and Zelenskyy talking about an actual ceasefire. No more blank checks to Ukraine. No more deep state profiteering. Just real negotiations to put America first and stop wasting American resources. And speaking of wasted resources, Trump's administration continues to expose the disastrous failures of the Biden economy. Under Trump, American manufacturing is surging, gas prices are plummeting, and deregulation is putting more money in the pockets of working Americans. Compare that to the Biden economy, where inflation crushed the middle class, while elites told you, just deal with it. And then there's the border. ICE is deporting violent criminals, actual monsters that Biden let flood into our communities. The numbers speak for themselves. Rapists, gang members, criminals who should never have been here in the first place, and yet activist judges are trying to stop Trump from doing his job. The administration made it very clear today. They are fighting back against these partisan judges who seem to think that their power is greater than that, than the President of the United States. But what didn't get discussed today? What question was not raised in that room? Well, I was prepared to ask about something that should concern every single American: the possible elimination of the federal income tax. That's right. President Trump and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, they are considering a historic move, one that would free Americans from the IRS once and for all. And guess who has weighed in? Elon Musk. That's right. Elon Musk suggested that former Congressman Ron Paul, yes, that Ron Paul, should be involved in the DOGE initiative. Now, why does that matter? Well, it's because Paul's been exposing the IRS for decades. He was featured in the film America, Freedom to Fascism, where he was asked point blank if he could name a law requiring Americans to file a Form 1040. His answer: I cannot set a law. No, I cannot. So think about that. The IRS has been confiscating wages, draining bank accounts, and targeting innocent Americans for years, many of whom were featured in that very film. And now with IRS whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joe Ziegler, in key Treasury roles, we have to ask, does the Trump administration's IRS restructuring team acknowledge, as Ron Paul said, no law requires the average American to file a Form 1040? And will they investigate how the DOJ and the IRS targeted people in that film, America, Freedom to Fascism, for political reasons? We're talking about real Americans here. Idaho State Senator Phil Hart, Joseph Bannister, former IRS agent, Larkin Rose, Sherry Peel Jackson, another IRS agent, even a retired FBI agent who face civil and criminal prosecution for daring to question the IRS. These aren't fringe voices. These are people who demanded transparency, and they paid the price for it. Yet today, nobody in this room asked about it. Not one. They were too busy talking about deportation flights and TikTok regulations. But we know what really, truly matters. It's what happens with the IRS. And here's the bottom line. If Trump and his team are serious about getting rid of the federal income tax, it will be the greatest economic revolution in American history. That's why the establishment will fight it with everything that they've got. So if you want to help us break the algorithm, keep reposting, keep sharing, and keep following us on X, because they don't want you to know the truth, but we are going to report it anyway. This is
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. Oh, man, that was my second take. You should see the first take. Okay, we got Fed Chair Powell blaming Trump policies. We got the truth. Wall Street is panicking, but why? Because Trump's tariffs are working. Auto production skyrocketing, erasing Biden's losses. Buying American isn't inflationary, it's jobs. The establishment is lying to you. Listen to this.
That they've made, and I try.
How are you? Good to see you. Could we talk about Chair Powell today? He attributed some of the negative sentiment in the markets and the economy to Trump administration policy actions. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, I respect the independence of the Fed, as we all do with the White House, and so we don't remark about current policy decisions that they've made, and I try not to, cherry pick things that Chairman Powell said.
What about the
I think that I'm happy to talk about the economics of things, and I think that Chairman Powell was clear that if there were a tariff effect, that it's a transitory one, and that's in every economic model. I just think that the tariff effect is probably zero or negative, and I just on the Kudlow show highlighted that there was a massive increase in industrial production in the data that we got yesterday, and it was an increase in auto production, which was a bigger increase than the entire decline from the Biden administration last year. And so one of the things that President Trump's tariff policy is seeking to accomplish is to get people to buy U.S. cars instead of foreign cars so that we create jobs here. And if you do that, then if you go to the car lot and you look at like what's it cost to buy a car from this dealer or that dealer, then it's not necessarily inflationary to switch to the American car. And that's what our intuition is about how to think about that. But he was correct that the economics literature is clear that it's a level adjust, if anything at all.
Kevin, these oil execs were here today at some point. Obviously, that industry has warned a lot about the risk of tariffs on oil and gas. How dangerous and impactful is that to consumers?
The what gets tariffed and not is something that you'll have complete clarity on in April 2nd, and so I don't want to talk about specific industries.
But generally, how harmful to the economy are tariffs? Impactful on the economy?
I think we think that we're onshoring activity with their trade policy, and it's really clearly in the data already.
Two questions. One on the GDP growth prediction that they had just now, 1.7% compared to 2.1% in December. What's your reaction to that?
Oh, I have an old-fashioned back of the envelope model that I was taught by Alan Greenspan how to use back when I was a 29-year-old economist at the Fed, and I just ran the numbers a couple days ago, and the old Greenspan model was at north of 2. And so I think, I said 2.5 a week ago, and I actually got that out of a model that was one of Alan Greenspan's favorite real-time models. So if you like, we could explain how to do that, but you don't want to do that right now.
You also just said that you respect the independence of the Fed, so you don't
Sure.
comment on that. The president fired last night 2 members of the FTC, the Democratic members of that. It raised questions about whether or not he does respect the independence of the Fed, or he thinks that they are fair game as well. What is the president's view on that?
We very much respect the independence of the Fed, and there's a massive literature that independent central banks perform better for economies, and so I don't think that's a
So he
dispute.
doesn't think he can fire him?
I think that's been resolved in the previous administration. You could go back and find a clip where I talked about it right in this space.
There's a reverse migration phenomenon going on in the country. A lot of people are moving out of the U.S. Migrants fear that they can be deported. Do you think that might have an effect on the economy in Europe?
One of the things we saw in the jobs report was that there's a massive increase in employment for U.S. residents. It was 278,000, if I remember the number correctly. And so I think the president's objective is to create more jobs for American workers, and that was clearly in the jobs report right then. If an undocumented person is leaving the country, then the question is, what was their employment status? And for many of them, they weren't employed.
When it comes to trading blocs like the European Union, is the president considering tariffs country by country, or
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about ahead of the April 2nd thing. And I'll take one more question.
Yeah, when it comes to sanctions on Russia, has anything changed when it comes to this conversation that we saw President Trump have with Putin? What has Trump told you about if those sanctions are off the table, how that would affect the economy?
That's an ongoing negotiation, so I'm sorry. So that won't count as the last question. Because it's a yes.
Would you be willing to give us an update on that ag program that you mentioned on the egg prices? How's that going?
They're down $2.50 a dozen. And I went to the grocery store, as I do every Saturday, because I'm the one who likes to shop in my family because I get to see all the prices. And the egg prices in D.C. were actually down quite a bit more than $2.50
How do you know
a
that's
dozen.
directly correlated with what the Trump administration is doing?
Because if you look at the data on the culling of chickens, it's basically stopped starting on January 20th. There's a chart we can show you on that, but it's astonishing how many chickens were killed in the last 2 months of the Biden administration, and by having a more prudent, as Secretary of Agriculture Britt Rollins has found, a more prudent policy about how to manage the disease, then we got lower egg prices and healthier chickens because they're not being culled in millions. Again, remember, it was more than 100-something million chickens were culled, and they spent $2 billion killing the chickens, and if you look at what's happened to the culling since President Trump took office, it's gone almost to zero. Well, thank you guys very much. I'm sorry.
Of eggs versus what consumers are actually paying.
It's-
We've seen wholesale prices go down, but it's not always reflected in the grocery store.
The latest egg prices, go to the grocery store. I literally just went to the grocery store and bought the same eggs I always
That's
bought,
not
and they were way
reflective
down.
of the whole country.
No, but it's $2.50 a dozen for the whole country. Okay, thank you guys. Thanks, guys.
You know what's funny about that clip? I mean, what he's talking about with the egg prices and how many chickens were killed in the last 2 months of the Biden administration. You know, I mean, it was clear sabotage. They wanted to see the egg prices go up so people could start screaming and yelling and blaming Trump. What also is interesting is Caitlin Collins fired that last question off. I was actually standing right on the outside of that circle. And I just barely caught that on camera because at the moment I was actually doing this interview with Matt Bailey. And you can see right behind me, I'm going to play this for you, and you'll see everybody start to gather as the gaggle begins. And you'll see me look back, oh, wait a second, there's something really serious happening behind us. But we were already in the middle of this debrief from the press conference. And anyway, check this out. Hey, it's Gary Franchi here, Next News Network. We're outside the White House with Matt Bailey, who is a White House correspondent. You may have seen him on the channel, on the X account. We were just inside the White House briefing room. Caroline Leavitt just delivered her press conference. What were some of your main takeaways off the bat?
Main takeaway is they're really interested in seeing where this goes with the federal judges in terms of the TDA deportations, the Tren de Agua deportations, to see what the judges are going to do, and if they're going to be able to get around those orders to stop those deportations and bring them back.
Yeah, there was a lot of reporters asking the same questions. It got a bit repetitive. You know, but that's what the mainstream media does. They just repeat the talking points that they get from, on high. As for me, one of my main takeaways, and it's actually what's interesting, is there was a question that was raised by a reporter who I just met prior to the briefing's beginning, and I had submitted a question earlier this week regarding what's going on in Deerfield, Illinois, the public school district there. 13-year-old girls being forced to change clothing in a locker room with a male who believes that he is a female. They went and complained to the administration of their public school. The public school sided with the male, the biological male, and forced the young girls to go and change in front. So I had submitted this question to the White House press department, press room, and I'm still awaiting an answer. But that question was raised today, and I thought it was very important. And I was like, in my mind, I'm going, thank God that question was raised. So right now, they simply just deferred to the Department of Education because the case was actually referred to the Department of Education, and then the Department of Education moved it
to the no, I'm sorry, it was the Justice Department, then to the Department of Education. So they're not a clear-cut answer from the White House, but at least the question was brought forward in a global setting at the seat of power here in Washington, D.C., and I'm just thankful for that. I did have a question, too. I wanted to talk about Ron Paul. I want to talk about the DOGE effort, the income tax. Secretary Bessent has just elevated 2 whistleblowers to high positions in the Treasury Department, and with those high positions, he's been tasked them for 1 year to investigate the wrongdoings taking place at the IRS. So my question was really revolving around the film America Freedom to Fascism and the late Aaron Russo, who produced that film, and a lot of the people who were in that film, they questioned the IRS, they were persecuted for it. So I want to get some answers. Didn't get to ask the question, so that story's not over. What else we got for us?
Just forgive me bragging a little bit. I'm kind of on an uneven hill there. No,
we're on the grassy knoll at the White House.
We're on the White House grassy knoll. All the JFK files were just released, and so far no big bombshell. We expect as things dig into them, as we dig into them, the analysis has said it might be a little embarrassing for the CIA, but other than that, no big cover-up. Again, back to the federal judges.
Well, I want to just take it back one second. I was speaking to another reporter who I met here from Epoch Times, and he pored over the documents for 4 hours. He was not pleased with what he had seen so far, and I said, well, there's 80,000 documents President Trump had stated were going to be released. He said, no, there wasn't 80,000 clearly, and he went and got clarification on that point, and he said that a lot of the documents had yet to be scanned.
Sure.
So if you want to see them, you got to go to the archives and talk to the librarian over there and fill out a library card and figure out the Dewey Decimal System for the JFK files. So there's a lot.
But Caroline did say that they are working diligently to scan most, if not all, of the rest of the things that hadn't been scanned. So it's. We're definitely going to have something here in the next couple of days. Maybe there'll be some breaking news out of that. But again, one last point on the judges was, the judges, the federally appointed judges, they're under the executive branch. So it creates a really interesting conflict of interest that I haven't heard addressed in the briefing room. That, you have these federally appointed judges who are not, they're political appointees in that they have to be Senate confirmed, but the job is not political. Their job is to follow the law. So and of course we heard Caroline Leavitt say that the Supreme Court needs to rein in these judges, but the Supreme Court has no jurisdiction over the federal judges. So it'll be very interesting to see what legal maneuvers the Trump team can do to actually enact their agenda.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to keep track of all this news, and news is breaking every minute here at the White House. I'm here with Matt Bailey. Sure. I'm Gary Franchi for the Next News Network.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, so that was another report we just filed today. Super cool, though, to see, you guys saw it all started gathering behind us as we concluded that report. You saw me look over my shoulder. There was also another gaggle. I actually missed 2 gaggles today. I'm like, oh, boy. But we got the clips for you, thank God. Here's a C-SPAN clip of Stephen Miller nailing it. You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. And Ian Miles Chong says, correct, something needs to be done about judicial activism, or you might as well say goodbye to the Republic. Remember when they kept saying, Donald Trump is a threat to democracy, he's a threat. Well, I think we found another threat to democracy.
You cannot have a democracy where single individual district court judges can assume the full total powers of the commander-in-chief. Even on the Supreme Court, it takes agreement of 5 Supreme Court justices to change a federal policy. 5. A single district court judge out of 700 cannot set policy for the entire nation, let alone on national security and public safety issues. The president has been clear that he has tremendous respect for Justice Roberts and believes it's essential the Supreme Court crack down and stop this assault on our democracy from these radical rogue judges that are usurping the powers of the presidency and laying waste to our entire constitutional system. You cannot have...
Okay, we've got more from Stephen Miller as well. Let's take a look. Just gathering these clips here for you. as we are currently live. Let's take a look. Here's President Trump. This is another clip here. Secretary of the Treasury, President Trump's leadership speaks for itself. He cares deeply about serving all 330 million of his constituents. Treasury Secretary.
Come in.
And when you're in the Oval, what are the truths and misconceptions of the president, meaning of the outside in, what people know or don't know?
Well, how about this? We had a lot of foreign leaders come in, and I knew someone in one of their entourages. I won't tell you which one, but afterwards he comes up to me and goes, "Holy crap!" Because he's really smart. President Trump has perfect recollection, because he was talking about something that had happened in that country 30 years ago, and he said, and he really, so the President Trump listens, he is judicious, he is just taking it all in, he likes to see how people react. It's just incredible executive skills. Yeah, and the other thing too, that he's tough. But I went in and I showed him, we were talking about something the other day, and I said, well, this is going to cause some layoffs. And he goes, well, let's try to fix it.
Yeah.
Let's try to fix it. So I always say he really regards himself as the mayor of America.
Right.
330 million people.
He wants to be personable to everyone.
And he cares deeply about all of them. And he doesn't care whether you're Elon Musk or the guy cutting the rose garden, but you're his constituent.
And when you're in the Oval...
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful to hear that insight from the Treasury Secretary. Here we have more. Let's see. We have the other Stephen Miller clip here. Okay, let's go to the press secretary. And I think you'll see some... You might see me in the press room in this clip. Let's take a look. After suffering a steep decline in the final year of the Biden administration, manufacturing sector is roaring back.
And positive economic data continues to pour in, showing the immediate impact of President Trump's pro-growth agenda. After suffering a steep decline in the final year of the Biden administration, the manufacturing sector came roaring back in February. Industrial production surged in February. These are new numbers. 3 times at a greater 3 times rate than the expectations to its highest ever recorded level. And President Trump's laser focus on massive deregulation and unleashing our domestic energy industry is leading to stabilities for Americans' bottom lines. As Newsweek summed it up today, gas prices are plummeting under President Trump. Positive economic data continues to pour in, showing the...
And we do have more. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says inflation is rising due to President Trump's tariffs, but you saw the head of the Economic Council rebuffing those claims.
Of how much of it is tariffs. So let me say that it is going to be very difficult to have a precise assessment of how much of inflation is coming from tariffs and from other, and that's already the case. You may have seen that goods inflation moved up pretty significantly in the first 2 months of the year. Trying to track that back to actual tariff increases, given what was tariffed and what was not, very, very challenging. So some of it, the answer is clearly some of it. A good part of it is coming from tariffs, but we'll be working, and so will other forecasters, to try to find the best possible way to separate non-tariff inflation from tariff inflation. How much of it is...
How about we just end the Fed and call it a day, right? Okay, we've got some more here. Let's see. Let me find that clip. There's a lot of clips in here. I'm going to find the one. Let's see here. Here's the mention of the activist judges. Everyone's talking about this.
Look at the injunction. It's a clear effort by these judges to slow roll this president's agenda. And if you just look at the injunctions that this president has faced, deporting foreign terrorists from our homeland, hiring and firing of executive branch employees when the president is the executive of the executive branch. You also see an injunction by a partisan activist judge when it comes to the Secretary of Defense trying to determine the readiness of our troops and the qualifications of our troops in our armed forces. Does a single district court judge really have more authority over the Commander-in-Chief and the Secretary of Defense to determine who should serve in our United States Armed Forces? Absolutely not. Anyone who has taken a basic civics lesson can understand that, and it's ridiculous lawfare that we are witnessing. The
lawfare continues, and let's continue here. When asked about a complaint filed with the DOJ from mother whose daughter was forced. Okay, so this is what I brought up as the gaggle was happening behind me. This is the question that was raised.
Men, the president has made it incredibly clear that it is the policy of this administration that there are only two genders, male and female, only two sexes rather, male and female, and that we are not going to tolerate such behavior by men pretending to be women. The president will continue to strongly stand for the rights of women and girls, not just in sports and on athletic fields, but also in private spaces like locker rooms and bathrooms. The president has made it incredibly clear that.
Now, there's more to that clip, but she did say, I want to refer you to the Department of Education for the full response. Let's continue. Here she is talking more about the judge.
The president has, and I would just like to point out that the judge in this case is essentially trying to say that the president doesn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our American soil. That is an egregious abuse of the bench. This judge does not have that authority. It is the opinion of this White House and of this administration, and that's why we're fighting this in court. And it's very, very clear that this is an activist judge who is trying to usurp the president's authority. Under the Alien Enemies Act, the president has this power, and that's why this deportation campaign has continued. And this judge, Judge Boasberg, is a Democrat activist. He was appointed by Barack Obama. His wife has donated more than $10,000 to Democrats, and he has consistently shown his disdain for this president and his policies, and it's unacceptable. And I would just like to...
Boom! Unacceptable right there. America is back. Here's President Trump getting off Marine One, and then juxtaposed with Joe Biden struggling with his coat. Yeah. Yep. America is back, baby. We got some more to get into here. Here is President Trump talking with Laura Ingraham.
Left him up. He abandoned. When I came in office, I said, Elon, we got to get them out. You have a rocket ship handy? How many people have a rocket? And Biden left them up. He abandoned them. We could have done this sooner, but Biden didn't want to because he was embarrassed by what happened. So they were up there. They were supposed to be there for a few days. They were there for many months. And now they're coming back. There are many more that love our country, and they love our country now more than they have maybe ever in their lives. There's never been a movement like MAGA, like America First, call it whatever you want to call it. This is the greatest movement in the history of politics. The one thing they never talk about is where did these billions of dollars go? They never want to look, because when you see where the money went and the scams, you don't even have to see anything. Just look at the heading. And the scam that they've created, and a judge like him will never look at that. Look at the fraud that we've caught. We've caught so much fraud, so much waste, so many employees that never showed up to work, and we have a judge from a very liberal state who ruled like that. Because it would have never happened if I were president. That was not a war that was supposed to happen. And it did happen, so that's where we are. Never did defy a court order.
And you wouldn't in the future?
No, you can't do that. However, we have bad judges. We have very bad judges, and these are judges that shouldn't be allowed. I think at a certain point you have to start looking at what do you do when you have a rogue judge. I think that President Xi would like to get along, and I think Russia wants to get along with the United States. I also think we're a much different country than we were just a few months ago. We're a country that's now respected. We were not respected. We were being laughed at. We had incompetent leadership. This was a war, as an example, that would have never happened if I were president. When I came in,
never would have happened. And now we actually have peace on the table. We have more. Let's take a look at POTUS talking, the press secretary talking about gas prices. And if you look there, hang on.
Gas prices will continue.
Check that
Gas
out.
prices across the U.S.
Wait a second. You see right there on the left, on the right, what is that? Like almost middle of the screen, you see me right there standing on the side. I'm like, I'm going on that side today. It's actually much better on that side, to be honest with you. The other side, everyone's like trying to walk up to an aisleway. Everyone's trying to walk up and down. It's very crowded. It's compact. Everyone's walking in that door. But on the left side of the room, if you will, yeah, that's where you got to hang out.
Gas prices across the U.S. have fallen for the fourth straight week. 34 states now seeing gas under $3 a gallon. This limited ceasefire with Ukraine regarding oil refineries, energy, will that affect gas prices here in the U.S.?
Well, it's certainly the president's hope that gas prices will continue to fall, and he's working every single day to ensure that we do. As you just mentioned, there's been very encouraging data. Inflation is cooling and gas prices are falling. The president has established a National Energy Dominance Council, and it's ultimately the president's goal. And this administration is working hard on it every single day to increase our energy production right here in the United States of America, to have it Trump energy boom like we saw in our first term, which will not only lead to lower fuel prices here at home, but also lessen the rate of inflation that was created by the previous administration.
Gas prices across the U.S.
It's just cool seeing that. I'm sorry. Okay, we've got more. Cracks. Secretary Sean Duffy on Fox saying we're seeing cracks in the age of our air traffic control system. That's why we're going from copper wires to fiber. We're still running copper. My goodness.
What we're going to have here is an announcement in the next couple of days. I know. We are going to have a brand new system. Again, our system is 25, 30 years old. We use copper wires, floppy disks. I mean, it's atrocious, the system we use. It's safe, but we're seeing the cracks of age. So we're going to build a brand new state-of-the-art system. The Congress,
give us a little detail. Sean,
money.
Give us a little detail.
Okay, so we're going to go from copper lines to fiber lines. We're going to have our radar. Some of the newest models that we have date back to like 1982. Yeah, we're going to have brand new radar, brand new terminals for air traffic controllers. We're going to have sensors on runways, so they don't have to stand in the tower and look out with binoculars. And oftentimes, the controllers' views are impeded. On their screens, they'll be able to see where airplanes are at on the tarmac. So again, top technology that's going to be deployed. The key to this is speed. It's not that we don't know that we've had a problem with air traffic control, but it takes too long. And then technology changes, money changes, administrations change. So we have to do this really fast. And so the Congress has to give us all the money up front. We're getting help from, Southwest. You just showed the airline there from Southwest. They just had to update their system. They had a similar problem to what the FAA has. In 2.5 years, they've updated their system, complete revamp. We're going to take in some of the brightest and best minds who have done it in the past. We have some SpaceX engineers that are helping us and others to help us deploy, again, this fantastic system. What we're going to have here is an announcement.
That's amazing. So the most revealing aspect of this Democrat collapse is their inability to counter the Trump administration momentum. While Press Secretary Leavitt confidently announces record-breaking industrial production numbers, Democrats are busy trying to shop for activist judges to block Trump's agenda. As she pointed out today, 67% of all injunctions by partisan activists in the judicial branch have targeted President Trump, with 92% coming from Democrat-appointed judges. But these desperate attacks aren't slowing down the Trump train. They're actually highlighting just how impotent the opposition has become. All right? The future in the furniture manufacturer relocating from Canada to North Carolina and the University of Pennsylvania losing $175 million over women's sports are just the latest evidence that America is reclaiming its greatness. So here is the question. Are we witnessing the final death throes of the Democrat Party as a viable political force in America, or just the beginning of their irrelevance? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our exclusive Next News shirts and hats in the merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Link down below. Okay, let's go. Where are we at right now? Oh, there's some super chats that have come through. Let's take a look. You know the rules. Okay, Kathy Hopkins, become a member. And then we also have Jonathan C., who just gifted 10 Next News Network memberships. Holy cow. Now, for the new members and our current members, there's a video I just posted today of me leaving the White House. You have to watch it. It's actually quite funny because Caitlin Collins was right behind me as I was leaving, and I pointed her out. There she is. She's trouble. And she looked over her shoulder when I was doing that. So take a look at that video. Cristiano and Carrie, Wisteria, Catherine, OICU is here, a member. Dirty Bird, Stacy Rogers, El Kep, Lucas Garrett, Mensa Barbie, also receiving a free membership from Jonathan C. Jennifer, I vote for the signature blue suit of Gary at N3. Oh, $10. You paid $10 to see me in the blue suit again. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate that. Cindy Rose, she says, towards keeping that awesome bead thing you got going there, looks very nice. I like the lavender tie. The beard thing? The beard? Is it the beard you like? Or in the tie? Or the bead thing? Cindy, I'm not sure what you mean there. Bead thing. And then Frank has become a member. What's up, Frank? Welcome to the family. And we also have Adam, who has just become a member as well. Welcome. Craig has just gifted 5 Next News Network memberships. Holy cow. Kitty Cat, Hillbilly in the Asia. Morning Flower, Arb the Awake, Carol White, all receiving memberships from Craig. Craig, I do love that that profile icon, by the way. RZ Now watching on Rumble. What's up, Rumble? Good to see you guys here. Okay. And I don't know what the deal is on Rumble, but I mean, 69 viewers on Rumble. Like, what? I don't even like. What's the point of even publishing there? I mean, and no offense, Arise Now, but why is we're getting 67 viewers? We have thousands of people watching on X and YouTube, but like nothing happens on Rumble. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, let's go on to our next topic of the day. Getting into the Doge. Oh my goodness. Okay. The radical left has launched what can only be described as a domestic terror campaign against American innovation and progress. Just look at what's happening to Tesla and Elon Musk. In Montreal, leftist activists vandalized a Tesla dealership, part of an escalating pattern of violence against Musk companies. Why? As Musk himself told Sean Hannity, the reason that we are seeing this extreme amount of hatred and violence is because we are actually succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste. Think about that. They're targeting Tesla not because it's failing, but because it's succeeding. Meanwhile, Attorney General Pam Bondi is responding to the alarming rise in swatting incidents against conservative influencers, as Press Secretary Leavitt called out Governor Tim Walz for actually rooting against an American car company. This is the modern left actively working against American success. And while leftist mobs are aging our society with their attacks on innovation, you don't have to let your skin show signs of their stress. A groundbreaking 2024 study shows that collagen dramatically improves skin health, with women reporting fewer wrinkles and firmer skin. This multi-collagen formula I use has 5 key types from 4 sources, exactly what you need to fight back against the visible aging these radical times inflict on patriots. It blends perfectly into your coffee while watching our reports on Tesla dealership attacks. So don't let the left's destruction reflect on your appearance. Protect American innovation and your skin. Get 51% off at healthwithgary.com. It is linked down below. I mean, look at my skin, right? Isn't that beautiful? Okay. With this just in, check this out. President Trump to sign an executive order commencing the closure of the U.S. Department of Education. That just in from the USA Today. And then we have this from Pam Bondi, responding to the recent rise of swatting incidents against conservative influencers. Juanita Broderick and Owen Schroyer, both getting swatted, the most recent swatting attempts on their livelihood. So let's listen to what Pam Bondi's saying.
The rise in these swatting incidences, these are conservative personalities, often radio hosts, influencers. They're getting these calls where police departments are coming in a bit of a SWAT raid, armed, ready to go, because they've been told there's some type of violent incident taking place at that person's home. It is designed, it appears, to create a really tense situation between an innocent person and law enforcement. And it's on the rise. There's been dozens of these over the last week or two. Is this something that you're looking into at the Department of Justice?
We are looking into all of these swatting investigations. Will, these investigations are so important because they are not practical jokes. They are meant to terrorize the individuals within the homes, and they risk the lives of law enforcement officers. Can you imagine a family sleeping in the middle of the night and police officers banging on your door, thinking that a violent crime is being committed within the home when a family is sleeping? There could be violence on both ends of that. They're extremely dangerous, and at the Department of Justice, we take these very, very seriously. We were talking about those today, too.
I woke up this morning and I saw the post from Owen Schroyer from InfoWars, the closed-circuit camera footage of him outside his home, guns drawn on him, simply wearing his shorts. I mean, I could only imagine the terror going through his home. This appears to be some of the footage. They don't show him, though. I didn't see him in the footage. And then Juanita Broderick, of course, she posted the same. Absolutely insane stuff happening. Why? Because they want to try to scare us and shut us up. Well, we're not going to shut up. And Lee Zeldin, loving the exceptional partnership the EPA has had with Elon Musk and the entire Doge team to pursue every efficiency possible as we end wasteful spending practices. Here he is on Fox Business.
We couldn't have been. We've had a great partnership with Doge, and through their help, we have been able to identify now over $2 billion worth of grants that I've canceled inside of both the DEI and environmental justice space. It's about saving tax dollars, ensuring that we aren't wasting a penny. We couldn't have been able to do it without that partnership with Doge. We're grateful for Elon's efforts, and he has a lot of very talented people who have been working with him. The people inside of our agency are EPA employees, the ones working on this Doge effort, and we're grateful for their effort. They stepped away from other jobs because they care about selflessly serving the American public. For me, I want to ensure that we are being exceptional stewards of tax dollars. That is my commitment to Congress, to President Trump, and to the American people.
Let's keep the Doge party going, folks. Here we have, because Doge is so effective, libs of TikTok posting this, leftist activists vandalizing a Tesla dealership in Montreal, Canada. Video from Rebel News Online.
Hey everybody, I'm currently at Tesla dealership in Montreal, and as you can see behind me, this is what happened this morning. There is two activists who came here to throw paint, the pink paint at the Tesla dealership. This is the first attack against Tesla here in Canada. So I will have my full report coming soon. Stay tuned.
Absolutely disgraceful. The left can't win, so they just go on the attack. Here we have the Megyn Kelly show. This is a low-level form of domestic terrorism. Rich Lowry and Charles Cook, an unhinged leftist Trump response, includes Tesla vandalism and Tim Walz's absurdity. Let's check it out.
Fix the side of a Tesla car. Some people are throwing Molotov cocktails at the Tesla vehicles. And again, we've seen even vehicle dealerships targeted. This is Elon Musk is quickly becoming the left's favorite target, even more so than Hitler, fascist, orange man, bad Trump. And what we're seeing now is some Democrats sound awfully close to defending those attacks on Tesla and the dealerships. You know, they're smart enough not to say that explicitly, but they're sounding awfully close. Before I get to Walz, here's left-wing operative and Hillary Clinton BFF Neera Tanden versus Scott Jennings on CNN last night.
And that's the American left right now. It is one angry mob after another willing to take things into their own hands, up to and including keying, firebombing, and otherwise vandalizing cars and car dealerships and charging stations. It's outrageous.
So when they do it to a Tesla dealer,
dictatorship, it's really bad. But when they do it to the halls of Congress, we should pardon them. Is that your position?
Oh, whoa. Really? You're going to go ahead and you're going to compare this to January 6th? Seriously? They have nothing left. Let's keep going.
No, I've never. I don't
Are
support.
we okay with the January 6th pardons?
I know you haven't been around for a while, so let me educate you about my position about January the 6th.
I'm so sorry.
Let me
I'm so
educate.
sorry.
Let me
You don't
educate
need
you.
to
So let me
educate
educate you about my position. You want to attack me? Let me finish it. Let me finish it. Let me finish it.
Let's do this January 6th and then
near it. I'm sorry you're getting emotional.
I'm sorry you're a condescending person who hasn't been paying attention to what I do. I have repeatedly, just like my friend Ashley here, said that no violence in our political system is acceptable. But this right here, what's going on with a guy who helps our country, who runs successful companies, who doesn't have to be doing this, and now one of his companies is under systematic terroristic threat and violence all over the country, and people seem to be laughing about it or fine with it. It's outrageous.
Anyone who commits violence against Tesla or Congress or anyone else should be put in jail, 1,000%. But that should not stifle dissent or opposition from Elon Musk.
Give it a little lip service. Give it a little both sides.
I'm so sorry to say that people are legitimately upset. They're legitimately upset at Elon Musk, and they're doing it on their own, but there is no reason to have violence in the country. But I just wish all of us would support criticism of, or would support punishing people who are violent wherever they are.
So, they're very upset. They're legitimately upset. They're doing it on their own. And we should really be condemning January 6th in this moment as well. Your thoughts on that one, Charles?
She just can't do it, can she? All she has to say, all she's obliged to say, as the citizen of a free republic, is it is never acceptable to firebomb cars because you don't like the guy who owns the company. And she can't do it. Joe Biden, by the way, nominated her for a federal position. Yeah. Thankfully, the Senate shot it down. Joe Manchin, I think, saw sense. But she cannot do it. And that is because at the root of modern American progressivism is the suspicion at best and the conviction at worst that violence is sometimes justified, that riots are necessary, and that all these power dynamics and hierarchies of grievances that we've been treated to for years justify what we see on the streets often and here at car dealerships. It's absolutely astonishing to me that she can't do it. And the newspapers, incidentally, have published headlines over and over again that run a little bit like Neera Tanden's answer there, which is suggesting that Elon Musk has angered people and therefore that they can't be held responsible if they resort to violence. It's appalling.
Rich, we did have the almost Vice President of the United States, Tim Walz, decide to weigh in on this. And here's what he had to say in response to Elon Musk. I mean, obviously in response to Elon and what he's doing with the federal government and all that. But here's what he decided while Tesla's under attack, while Elon's under attack. This was his message yesterday.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, you know, and take out, just telling you.
So your thoughts on that, as this is one of the largest American manufacturers and employers of Americans that we have, but he's celebrating the drop in stock. This, not to mention, as Elon Musk rescues our two astronauts who were stuck on the International Space Station. It's just your thoughts.
Yeah, it's meant to punish and coerce Elon Musk. And this whole campaign is loathsome and un-American. Now, it's fine, obviously, to protest if it's peaceful and lawful. It's fine to boycott. You know, there's a boycott against Bud Light a year or two ago, but I don't remember Bud Light delivery trucks getting Molotov cocktailed or 7-Elevens getting shot up. So this is a low level, you know, it's not hijacking planes, but it is a low level form of domestic terrorism, the basic definition of which is violent acts that are ideologically motivated and meant to change the course of a government or government policy. They want to make Elon Musk afraid. I don't think he scares easily, but they want to make the people who work for him afraid. They want to make the potential customers afraid. They want to make the people who own the cars afraid, right? The last thing you want to think of is my car might be vandalized, right? This is an expensive vehicle. So whenever the left talks about direct action, you need to take measures to protect your person and your property. And
how disgusting is that? That's where we're at right now. I mean, we've seen this time and time again, and now we're seeing Elon Musk right there. And here we have, okay, so check this out. Here's the press secretary. And I was in the press room today when this question was brought up, and the press secretary just blasted Tim Walz. Check this out.
That's quite sad.
Governor Walz saying last night he frequently checks Tesla stock. In doing so, to quote, give me a little boost during the day. How should Americans view politicians who take pride in the downfall of an American car company?
I think that's quite sad, but I think Governor Walz unfortunately is living a sad existence after his devastating defeat on November 5th.
Governor Walz saying
living a sad existence. That's all you can really say. Here we have more from the press secretary on the incident at the U.S. Institute of Peace. This was new. Listen to this. I had no idea. This is shocking.
Telephones, elevators. So on the United States Institute of Peace, this is a little bit wild. I understand the old president refused to leave after he was removed from his position. He barricaded himself in his offices, had to be escorted out by police, left the building without Wi-Fi.
Oh wait, look, there's me. There's me right there in the back. Sorry.
So on the United States Institute of Peace, this is a little bit wild. I understand the old president refused to leave after he was removed from his position. He barricaded himself in his offices, had to be escorted out by police, left the building without Wi-Fi, telephones, elevators, and more, and is now telling media that Doge broke in and illegally removed him. So can you comment on this sequence of events and specify, did Doge illegally enter?
I'm really glad you brought this up, Mary. We were made aware of this story by individuals at Doge, at Elon Musk's team, and also at the State Department who were unable to access this building. And it became very clear that there was a concerted effort amongst the rogue bureaucrats at the United States Institute of Peace to actually physically barricade themselves essentially inside of the building to prevent political appointees of this administration who work at the direction of the President of the United States to get into the building. There was a piece in the Daily Caller, thank you for sharing the truth on this, about what happened. Staff contacted the MPD in an attempt to prevent Doge personnel from entering. They barricaded the doors. They also disabled telephone lines, internet connections, and other IT infrastructure within the building. They distributed flyers internally, encouraging each other to basically prevent these individuals from accessing the building. I use this to say this is what Doge and this administration is facing. It's a resistance from bureaucrats who don't want to see change in this city. President Trump was elected on an overwhelming mandate to seek change and implement change, and this is unacceptable behavior.
I mean, can we call it an insurrection? I mean, this is the deep state clinging to power. I mean, barricading themselves in their offices, refusing to leave. I mean, this is outrageous. President Trump has the power to remove these people from office, and when he removes them, they have to go. Here we have the press secretary, Secretary Sean Duffy, promises made, promises kept. This is what the golden age of space transportation looks like. At NASA's headquarters, we watched our great astronauts make a splashdown in the Gulf of America. They were forgotten for 9 months in space, but thanks to POTUS leadership, no more.
And splashdown.
And those astronauts are safe now. Why? Because of Elon Musk and his innovation. The same man whose Tesla dealerships are being firebombed and vandalized, and just innocent car owners are driving around and worried that their cars are going to get destroyed or even keyed or firebombed themselves while they're driving because some radical leftist doesn't like what Elon Musk, or this really the narrative they're being programmed by the Soros activists, by people online, and all these groups that are just pushing this hatred towards Elon Musk. Why? Because these activist groups are funded, a lot of them, by Soros, by the Open Society Foundation, who gets their money from USAID. It gets funneled out and pushed out throughout the country, and then their money train is getting dried up. So these are the last gasps of those activist groups who are freaking out, and they're putting out their marching orders to attack Elon Musk everywhere. It's crazy. But the man is literally saving lives that Joe Biden left in space. I mean, Joe Biden left astronauts in space. What the hell? My goodness. Okay. We've got more. Let's take a look. Okay, so here's Elon Musk himself. This was at the White House. I had just left to do the show maybe about an hour or so beforehand. If I had hung around, man, I could have had a nice conversation with Elon Musk. But here we have Elon talking with Sean Hannity.
I think they're getting desperate because, I mean, the reason we're seeing this extreme amount of hatred and violence is because we're actually succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste. If we weren't succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste, they wouldn't care. But we are succeeding. Without President Trump, this would be impossible. So I'd just like to say, it's only possible with this president.
Yeah. I mean, they're attacking him. He's taking a lot of heat right now. But the guy's a billionaire. He can absorb it. Here's more. Elon Musk says SpaceX could have rescued the astronauts stranded in space for 10 months after a few months at most. Listen.
Not sooner. I just
want to
clarify on the issue of whether. I just want to clarify on the issue of whether or not you had offered to send this rocket to space to rescue these astronauts sooner to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I heard somebody earlier today say, in fact, that didn't happen when I believe it did.
No, we definitely offered to return the astronauts earlier. There's no question about that. The astronauts were only supposed to be there for 8 days, and they've been there for almost 10 months. So obviously that doesn't make any sense. SpaceX could have brought the astronauts back after a few months at most. And we made that offer to the Biden administration. It was rejected for political reasons, and that's just a fact.
Rejected for political reasons. They left those people in space for political reasons. Jeez, man. Wow. Here is more from Elon Musk outlining what keeps him going through all of the attacks and smears. Nick Sortor posting this.
To me, the average American makes $66,000 a year. We're close to $40,000 in debt. You said to me in our last interview, we won't have a country unless we fix it now. Can you explain why this is so important that we identify all this waste?
Yes, the government the government waste and fraud is so high that it's causing a $2 trillion annual deficit. So that's $2,000 billion of waste and fraud that's happening. And the cost of our debt has gotten so high that just the interest payments on the debt exceed the entire military budget. And it was just growing out of control. So the country was going bankrupt. It's just, country is no different from a person. If a country overspends and doesn't spend wisely, just like a person, a country will go bankrupt. So the reason I'm here is because I'm very worried about America going bankrupt due to the corruption and waste. And if we don't do something about it, the ship of America is going to sink. And we're all on that ship. And this may be a message to, people out there who have, are wealthy, have a lot of means, or control companies. It's like, just remember, we're all in ship America here. Your company is not going to exist if the ship of America sinks. And we should do everything we possibly can to ensure that America is strong for far into the future.
And
all he wants to do is ensure America's stability, ensure that businesses can continue to flourish. And he's being punished for it. And what's wild is that, okay, remember how much they attacked Donald Trump? It's like they've completely shifted their focus to Elon Musk. And like he's right there in front of Trump taking all the bullets, and Trump is now signing executive orders, executing all this executive authority, and Elon Musk carrying out the business of Doge and finding all this waste, fraud, and abuse. And then again, he's on the front line taking the hits, and he's such a visible character. And because he's got billions of dollars, he's the richest man in the world. All these companies that have storefronts. I mean, Tesla dealerships are everywhere. Oh, he's an easy target, and he's handling it quite well, I would have to say. Okay, let's keep going. We got more to dig into. Okay, so this is the full clip that we played with Megyn Kelly. I don't think we need to play that again. MSNBC guest claims the astronauts were never really stranded. What? Turns out MSNBC owner, NBC, just days ago admitted they were. Here's Alyssa Ellis, who also admitted that they were stranded. PBS, Time, Washington Post, Live Science, ABC, Al Jazeera, BBC, and Fox News.
Problem with the space. Let me just talk to that a little bit. You know, there was the idea that the astronauts were stranded up there. If you're an astronaut, right, this is what you live for. You pray to be able to be chosen for a mission and going up into space. And there was the problem with the space liner, with the Boeing. But they could have, at any time, NASA could have done something to try and retrieve them, and they didn't need to, right? Because there's a cycle of, there were already two astronauts up there that had come up on this capsule. That capsule was still attached to the mission, and NASA decided it would be better just for the normal logistics to leave them up there for longer. And as the astronauts themselves said, it's like they loved being up there. So, you know, it's like if you're a space nerd, as they are and I am, it's like being sent to Hawaii for a 1-week vacation and finding out, no, actually you're going to be able to spend, 8 months here or 10 months there. So this idea of them being stranded, I really felt was kind of the politics getting involved. And, NASA has contingency plans. NASA has, NASA understands what it takes and what the problems are. And so the decision to, leave them up there was not one of desperation, but was one of scheduling and logistics, which is very hard when it comes to space. So this, in many ways, this was very routine. Getting them down was not something special. This capsule was always up there waiting to bring the 2 astronauts who'd been there already and were scheduled to come down. But this one had 4 seats. That was part of the plan, so they could get them all down.
And we're looking at the footage here. This is off the coast of Florida.
Yeah, they couldn't wait to get stranded up there. My goodness. Okay, the reality we're facing is stark. As America enters an innovation renaissance under President Trump, the left has become increasingly desperate to sabotage anything that threatens their narrative of American decline. In an exclusive Fox News interview, Musk pointed out the hypocrisy. I always thought the Democrats were supposed to be the party of empathy and caring, and yet they're burning down cars and firebombing dealerships. Meanwhile, the mainstream media is actively covering for the violence. When MSNBC's Neera Tanden tried to equate these terrorist attacks with January 6th, Scott Jennings tore the bark off of her, leaving her so rattled she dropped her coffee mug. And Musk's warning is clear. If we don't do something, the ship of America is going to sink. We're all on the same ship. So here's the question. Is the left's violent opposition to American innovation and success proof that their entire political ideology has become an anti-American movement? Let us know in the comments. And show your support for American innovation with a Next News shirt or a hat, or even the MAGA Avengers hat, t-shirt featuring Elon Musk and Ron Paul. Grab one. And when I see you on the street, we'll take a selfie and we'll post it to the channel and you'll be world famous. All right, let's go. Let's go. Curio 23 to fund a zoot suit for the press briefing room. No, that's funny. I actually did think about, because I have like these crazy St. Patrick's Day suits with like clovers and pinstripes and all kinds of stuff. I was actually thinking about bringing it, but I wasn't going to be there on St. Patrick's Day, and it might have been a little bit too clownish. But hey, We're breaking the mold everywhere. And then we got Sharon Johnson, who dropped $2. Thank you, Sharon, for that. We're now at 19 new members and $21.99 in chat revenue. Guys, I'm not doing that good? Am I doing okay? You guys are... Where's the super chats tonight? I'm getting kind of worried. Is it because I'm not wearing my special hat, my lucky hat? Where's my lucky hat? I don't know. Okay, let's get going. We've got more. Oh, what's this? Ice Baby. Ice Baby. All right. Let's see. Just a second. Let me just advance this. What happened here? Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying here. More like ignoring and making excuses. Democrats, get it together. Victor, what's up? Thank you, Lisa Treeman, R.S. Taylor. Good show. Jerome, hi, Hillbilly Crab. Famous Potatoes is here too. Okay. Let's go. The Trump administration's strategic overhaul of American policy is sending shockwaves through the system, and the results speak for themselves. FBI Director Kash Patel just announced the capture of Donald Eugene Fields from the FBI's 10 most wanted list, a fugitive wanted for child trafficking and other horrific charges. This is just one example of how the administration is restoring law and order after years of decay. Press Secretary Leavitt confirmed that the Trump administration continues to make American communities safer through our ongoing mass deportation campaign of illegal alien criminals. Meanwhile, social media is buzzing with images of Venezuelan gang members being deported, proving that Trump's promises weren't just campaign rhetoric. They are becoming reality. Nick Adams put it plainly. If they're here illegally, then President Trump has the right to deport them. This is what happens when an administration prioritizes Americans over political correctness. While President Trump implements his America First deportation strategy, you deserve an America First solution for your pain. Just as illegal aliens are being removed systematically, Dr. Josh's turmeric hack removes pain systematically from your body. This Connecticut pain specialist discovered a turmeric extract 200 times more powerful than regular turmeric. It's like Trump's precision deportation strategy for your inflammation. After helping hundreds of thousands break free from constant aches, Dr. Josh's approach represents true American innovation, not foreign pharmaceuticals with dangerous side effects. Experience the same liberation from pain that our borders are experiencing from illegal crossings by visit goldenrevive.com/NNN. It is linked down below. Okay, let's find out what is going on. Carle Bonet, she writes, Trump is the effing president of the United States who protects people. What is going on here?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think we should defer to our chief.
Oh, wait, yes.
Thank you.
Our chief legal analyst, Greg Gutfeld.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. Look, John Roberts says it's not appropriate. It's not an appropriate response to when you disagree with the judge. And it is really a surprise to me that Trump doesn't follow the appropriate protocol when there are rapists and murderers invading our country. Maybe a guy in a robe in D.C. can follow all the protocols, but Trump is the effing president of the United States who protects 300 million plus people. He is a leader who does not have the luxury of opening up his little books to read, oh, my God, maybe he didn't do it the right way. Roberts, shut the F up. This is something that a president has to do. He has to do this. It blows my mind how wrong I was in 2016 or 2015 when Trump came down the escalator. And I was like, I can't believe he said these things. Everything he said was right. They're sending bad people. What did he say? They're sending killers and rapists. Do you remember this?
Some of them were good people.
Some of them were good people. He said this, and now he's sending them back. He's sending them back. You know, political disagreement among parties is normal, but the Dems complain about things that Trump might do. They look at this. What might he do next? Oh, what could he do? He could do this somewhere else. But when you look at the Dems, you see what they've actually done. Not what they might do, but what they've done. For example, they're trying to prevent rapists and murderers from being deported. They allowed perverts into female safe spaces. They allow surgical experimentation on kids. They defend those who materially support Hamas. They defend no cash bail that expanded recidivist criminality. I could go on. My point being, we don't have to make up the crap that they do. Right. The only way they can survive is by hypothetically imagining what Trump will do next, because he's right in the present moment.
Yes, he is right. And here we have Jorge Ventura with News Nation, Rapid Response 47 reporting that efforts are underway in Arizona to seal key gaps in the border.
Colleague Ali Bradley was on. So similar efforts are underway on the Arizona border, particularly in Nogales. That's in that Tucson sector. Nogales is a infamous spot for drug smuggling and also migrant smuggling as well. Just recently, our colleague Ali Bradley was on the ground with DHA Secretary Kristi Noem, and they're also already sealing off key open gaps along that area. They were seeing some of that progress being made. Officials say that those reinforcements are already making an impact on the ground there in Arizona, and the numbers do prove that. That same sector, the Tucson sector, recorded close to 4,000 migrant encounters back in February of last year. Now, February of this year, you can already see those numbers drop to just 413. That's a staggering 89% decrease in some of those visuals. You can kind of see the contrast between the Biden administration and now. Now, what's also interesting, Nicole, what we are learning in the Del Rio sector, this is in the Texas border. This is an area that under the Biden administration was seeing thousands of migrants arrive daily. Now, those numbers are plummeting as well. So similar efforts are underway on.
Numbers continue to plummet. Here we have more on the border wall, Trump's wall going up.
Officially underway here in the construction for that first new border wall under President Trump's second term is officially underway here in Hidalgo County in the Rio Grande Valley sector along the Texas border. We are now seeing the replacement of 6-foot guardrails with 18-foot steel panels in key areas where there's known for smuggling and drugs. Now, historically, the Rio Grande Valley sector has been a really flashpoint for those mass migrant searches, but also a known corridor used by Mexican drug cartels to move narcotics into the United States. Officials here say that this new border wall will assist Border Patrol agents here on the ground to not only stop illegal crossings, but to slow down cartel smuggling operations when it comes to humans and drugs, which have been taken advantage by of open gaps left after the construction was halted under the Biden administration. You could also see these are some new images we shot in Mercedes, Texas. Some of these new panels are noticeably taller and more reinforcement than the older ones, making them nearly impossible for smugglers to climb on top of. Now, similar upgrades are going to be happening along different parts of the border here in Texas, but right now, the McAllen area is a top priority as that construction is ramping up here on the Texas border. U.S. Customs and Border Protection awarded a $70 million contract to Granite Construction to complete 7 miles of border wall in the Rio Grande Valley, a hotspot for cartel activity. Now, officials say that cartels have used these gaps to traffic drugs and people into the United States, and by sealing off these high-risk areas, DHS hopes to disrupt these criminal networks. We're already seeing a huge shift when it comes to migrant encounters in terms of numbers. New numbers show a dramatic drop nationwide on the migrant encounters. In January, that finished a little over 81,000, and that plummeted all the way to 28,000 in February. Here in the Rio Grande Valley sector where we are located right now, encounters also plummeted from nearly 6,000 to just over 1,200. Border officials say this is just the beginning. DHA Secretary Kristi Noem telling News Nation that the administration is cracking down and sending a clear message to cartels.
They recognize that we're enforcing our federal laws, that we're not letting people just walk across the border anymore. As you can see, we mean business. You know, we are building wall, we are securing our borders, and that we're not going to let this illegal activity continue.
Yep, it is all coming to a head. Here's AG Pam Bondi talking about the federal judge trying to control foreign policy. Wow.
You have one. Our lawyers are working on this. We will answer appropriately, but what I will tell you is this judge has no right to ask those questions. You have one unelected federal judge trying to control foreign policies, trying to control the Alien Enemies Act, which they have no business presiding over. And there are 261 reasons why Americans are safer now. That's because those people are out of this country. The judge had no business, no power to do what he did. And Will, he came in on an emergency basis on a Saturday with very, very short notice, if any, to our attorney to run in the courtroom. You know, and this has been a pattern with these liberal judges. You just spoke about that. It's been a pattern with what they've been doing. This judge had no right to do that. They're meddling in foreign affairs. They're meddling in our government. And the question should be, why is a judge trying to protect terrorists who have invaded our country over American citizens? You know, TDA is a terrorist organization. They are organized. They have a government structure within them. They are sending money not only throughout this country to each other, but back to Venezuela. They are a terrorist organization, and we are not going to have that in our country. We are going to deport them, and we're going to continue to deport them. We will honor what the court says, but we will appeal. And we will continue to fight terrorists within our country, Will. Not going to stop, and we're going to get them out of here.
Oh, yeah. It's happening. Rapid Response 47, Mexico's cartels are boxed in by Trump's success at the border. The Washington Times reporting that. Dave Bondi, a friend of mine, actually, never personally met him, but was introduced to him by Ivory Hecker, actually. And Dave Bondi, if you don't know him, you should follow him on X. He left his mainstream media job to go independent because he was tired of what he saw on the news and stuff that he was being forced to report. Now, he says Oakland County, Michigan Sheriff Michael Bouchard says some communities are refusing to hand over illegal migrants in county jails who are wanted by ICE. And he's got this clip here of the Michigan sheriff.
I'm not going to, that unfortunately, some communities have decided they're not going to tell somebody when ICE has a person they want, they release them back in the community. It's more disruptive to the community then, because then ICE goes and looks for them elsewhere, knocks on doors and does those kinds of things, which again is more dangerous to the ICE and Border Patrol. It's more disruptive to the community, and it's more dangerous to anybody that may be in the vicinity should something happen. So that's one of the key things is you know, that's their wheelhouse. I don't have the bandwidth to enforce illegal immigration. But I do have the ability to say if somebody's in jail for a crime separate and aside from any of that, I'm not going to put barriers in your way from doing your job. That unfortunately.
And let's continue now. We have the press secretary earlier today weighing in on President Trump making American communities safer. Now, she was peppered with these questions repeatedly today.
They're fugitive from its. The Trump administration continues to make American communities safer through our ongoing mass deportation campaign of illegal alien criminals. Yesterday, FBI Director Kash Patel announced the agency captured another fugitive from its 10 most wanted list, securing the extradition of Francisco Javier Roman Bardeles, a key senior leader of the brutal MS-13 gang. And the brave men and women of ICE also arrested a number of dangerous aliens across the country in recent days. You will see them on this screen. ICE San Francisco just arrested a citizen of Guatemala convicted of sexual battery. ICE New Orleans arrested a citizen of Ecuador convicted of rape in Suffolk County, New York. ICE Atlanta arrested a citizen of Mexico convicted of assault by strangulation. ICE Dallas arrested a citizen of Mexico convicted of assault with a firearm and rape with a foreign object. And ICE Houston arrested a citizen of Guatemala convicted of indecent sexual contact with a child in Texas. These are heinous criminal alien monsters who the previous administration allowed to flood into our country. And every time President Trump and this team deport one of them, our country becomes safer. The Trump administration...
Wow. President Trump making America safer again. Here we have more. Donald Eugene Fields II, a fugitive wanted on... Oh, I can't even read that. Look what's on your screen. You see what it says. I don't even like repeating these words. It makes me sick. He was arrested January 25th, 2025. Wanted for knowingly attempting to recruit, entice, provide, patronize, and solicit. Oh. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Finally captured. Thank God. And this is where Trump is sending the Venezuelan gang members.
Out some of the prisoners, when an inmate walks into this door, he never leaves. The scanner will literally scan the entire body to make sure there's nothing inside the stomach or even the place where nobody would ever want to go, the butthole. Here is their bath and their shower. If they want to go poop or pee, they have to do it in front of everybody. Here they have let out some of the prisoners. They're going to be learning about the gospel. They have a preacher right here who's teaching out of the Bible. And when these inmates want to go to sleep, they sleep here on these bunk beds that are completely steel. They are given one sheet. They don't even receive a pillow. And they don't know if it's night or day because the lights never turn on. If a prisoner were to act up, he would be sent into one of these rooms here. The only sort of light they have is this little peephole right up here, and they get absolutely nothing to use to sleep, just pure concrete. Now, in case of a riot right here, we have a guard. He has a shield. He has protection from head to toe. The guards here would have everything they need to take down the prisoners. And if you were to try to escape, not only are there 2 walls you'd have to hop over, one of those walls is 27 feet high with an additional 9 feet of electrical fencing that is at 15 volts.
Holy cow. Yep, that's where they're going. Send them back. Wow, that's crazy. Here we have this. This is RSBN posting this. This is actually an older clip. It's resurfaced, but it's the point is made. More than 10,000 people voted with the same social security number in the 2020 Arizona elections. Why is nobody talking about this? I mean, the evidence is clear. All right, the same social security number. 10,000 people. Talk about vote fraud right there. Nick Adams writing this. I don't know how Scott Jennings puts up with this on a daily basis. If they're here illegally, then President Trump has the right to deport them.
These are they're selecting certain cases that have a political lens to it, and they're testing the bounds. Republicans agree with me in terms of the 14th Amendment. How many times have you been on and saying, I think this could go to the Supreme Court?
Actually, these are terrorists, okay? They were designated. They were the organization to which they belong, but regardless,
we don't really know.
Regardless of
that we don't know.
No, they don't.
They're
Actually,
in
we
the
don't
country
know.
illegally.
We don't know.
Allegedly,
they're not. This is not.
We haven't
These are not two plain of Sunday school teachers.
They have
people are in the country.
I'm sorry, Scott.
They came on vacation in America for a couple of days. They're not citizens of the United States.
We don't know because we don't have the information and we can't trust the Trump administration.
So, Josh, why do you think they were here? Vacationing for a couple of days?
Tell me the names of the people in their
I'm just curious.
You don't know.
Let me just ask one.
You don't know who they are, and I don't know who they are because they didn't tell us because they shipped them into some El Salvadorian supermax prison without any due process whatsoever.
And El Salvador said, come on home.
And if you're
going to prison where you belong. Where you belong.
One second.
They're selecting certain.
God bless Scott Jennings, what he has to put up with on a daily basis. I guess he got a big promotion. His ratings are going up at CNN. So people like what he's doing. Here we have this. This is actually another clip. We've actually played this before. The left is more concerned about illegals being comfortable on the plane than they are about our own people. Listen to this.
Treating migrants humanely, but there's been reports of them on planes with no water,
that was a bunch of
complaining.
Crap. That was a bunch of crap.
What do you mean a bunch of crap?
ICE detention facilities have the highest detention standards in the industry.
Are you sure you're only getting illegal criminal migrants? I mean, there were some pictures over the weekend of people that claim to be students, Brazilian students, who were showing examples of bruises on their arms from American deportation flights.
That's ridiculous, but if they want to make a complaint, we investigate it.
But your assurance is what?
The men and women of ICE are professionals. We do this for a living. And I can tell you, I ran ICE for years. I was the first director of ICE came up through the ranks. Again, these men and women are professional, highest detention standards in the industry. We take care of these people. But we're going to enforce the law, and we're not going to apologize for doing it.
And you're going to do it in a sort of public way do you need to use the big military planes? Is that part of a sort of shock and awe tactic? No. They haven't been used before, have they, for migrants?
No, we got President Trump. We're going to use all the government to secure our border, which is the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. And we're going to enforce laws to this country. It's not okay to enter this country illegally. It's a crime. We're one of the Border Patrol, but they can't do their national security job. That's when the fentanyl come across, kill 250,000 Americans. That's when you have a 600% increase in sex trafficking. That's when you have a record number of no-inspected terrorists coming across an open border. President Trump's going to secure the border as promised to the American people. We're going to enforce immigration laws. That's what we're going to do, without apology.
Apology. She's like, oh my goodness, using big scary military planes. It's never been done before. You know, I mean, come on. That's how we're going to do it. We got to get them out. We got to get them out quickly and efficiently, and that's what President Trump and Tom Homan are doing. So this is just the beginning, and the success keeps happening, and the left's hysterical opposition to Trump's immigration policy reveals their true priorities. As one Twitter user, X user, noted, the left is more concerned about the illegals being comfortable on the plane than they are about our own people, right? Well, this cuts to the heart of today's political divide. A president who acts decisively to protect American citizens versus those who prioritize non-citizens over the safety and welfare of Americans. The mass deportation campaign is already yielding results, with communities reporting decreases in criminal activity and gang presence. Local law enforcement agencies are partnering with federal authorities in unprecedented numbers. Of course, there are still people holding out, but it is creating a front against the criminal elements that have exploited our border crisis for years. So here's the question for you. Is Trump's aggressive approach to illegal immigration finally solving a crisis that previous administrations refused to address? Or should deportations be happening even faster? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and show your patriotic support for the Next News Network and our fearless reporting by going to the link in the description, shop.nextnewsnetwork.com, and grab a Next News hat right there, MAGA Avengers hat, coffee mug. Show your support for the network and our work here. Link below. All right, let's see where we're at now. We are at 5698 in Super Chats, 19 new members. We have Melissa, who said, thank you for your hard work you're doing. It's amazing. Miss Heidi Ho, I put this on the screen. How are illegal immigrants and ET alike? They both are finally going home.
Hold on, dude. I've lost my mouse.
And then we got this one here. We got Studio 0530. Ship them all back. How does a judge decide policy? Well, they don't. They're just trying to block policy. And then we got Shark Bait. Thanks for being motivated for truth. $20. Thank you for that very much. Alex Bleeping Jones. Remember, if you want to get in on the Super Chat between segments, now is the time. Alex Bleeping Jones. I think it's safe to say that we didn't get all the JFK documents, since I've yet to hear anything about that directly implicates George Bush and the CIA. A lot of them are still being scanned and uploaded. We learned that today at the White House. And then we also have our Boyd just gifting 5 Next News Network memberships. Thank you, our Boyd. We got Dinah Phipps, Joshua Ponset, Wojo, Alabama, G.G. Christie as well. Palmer's Archer Homestead also receiving a Next News membership. So all of our new members, you can go and check out the member playlist. I think I did put it in the playlist. Let me just check and make sure that it's there. The last member video that I uploaded. Let me just check. Is it in there? Let me just check. Is it added to the playlist? I'll put it there now. My bad. Okay, now it's there in the members only playlist. You can see it. Yeah, that was a funny moment. Check it out. You can see it. Oh, and Mary Crabtree dropping $20. What's up, Mary? Thank you. She says, thank you for all your hard work, Gary. Happy to be here and see your transition into the White House press. Such an honor. So proud of you. Truth in action. Thank you, Mary B. Crabtree, for that $20. All right. Brian, did you find your mouse yet? Brian's mouse got away from him, apparently. Let's see what else. Anything else? Let's see. Checking in on the main. Oh, it looks like Brian was able to get reconnected. All right, good. Heather, Nathaniel, disguise it. Don't tread on me. 3%, what's up? Hi, Mr. Dreamer. Hi, everyone. Damn, I work too much. Never expected them to release the whole thing. They have buried that so deep, just like they have with the aliens. Okay, let's continue. Brian, am I allowed to continue? Brian? Okay, And if you can get the clock back up, that'd be appreciated. Thank you very much. Famous Potatoes, been watching Gary for a long time. Good job. 3% Prepper, what's up, Gary? Release the UFO files. Yes, I want to see the UFO files too. Believe me, I do. Believe me. All right. Just checking one more thing before we get started. Okay. Wait, let me load it. Sorry, my bad. Here we go. Oh, one more thing. Where is that report on Ukraine? I do want to bring this up. 1 second. Okay. Let's take this and put it where we want it. In Ukraine. Okay. While the previous administration bumbled through years of failed Ukraine policy, President Trump has made more progress towards peace in 59 days than Biden did in 4 years. The Financial Times reports that during the phone call with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy, Trump suggested the U.S. should take over Ukraine's nuclear power plants to better protect these critical facilities. This bold approach addresses one of the conflict's most dangerous flashpoints. Special Envoy Kellogg called the conversation absolutely great and noted that President Trump's absolutely right. This war wouldn't have started if he was president. And Trump's direct no-nonsense diplomacy has created more momentum for peace than years of ineffectual posturing from the previous administration. Just as President Trump is negotiating revolutionary peace in Ukraine through bold, unconventional strategies, Canalidine offers a revolutionary approach to fighting pain. Unlike Ukraine's previous diplomatic failures, this breakthrough works by optimizing your body's natural painkillers, your endorphins. Trump's nuclear facility protection plan for Ukraine mirrors how Canalidine protects your nervous system against pain signals. Over 1 million Americans, including UFC fighters facing combat situations like Ukraine's forces, have embraced this 100% drug-free formula. While Trump creates a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, you can create a ceasefire with your pain for less than $1 a day at tricano.com/NNN. It is linked down below. Okay, now I'm going to play this clip. We played it earlier, but it bears repeating. This is, as I was reporting this, the phone call between Trump and Zelenskyy was happening.
At about 4 and 8. This is Gary Franchi reporting from just outside the White House with the Next News Network. And folks, you know, we're one of the few outlets in the press briefing room that isn't peddling fake news. While the mainstream clowns twist the truth, we are bringing you the real deal straight from the source. Today is March 19, 2025. It's a big day at the White House. President Trump is on fire. He's working overtime to fix the messes left by Sleepy Joe and the radical left. From shuttle diplomacy to crushing lawsuits, we have the scoop. So buckle up, because this is what winning looks like, and nobody does it better than our fearless leader, Donald J. Trump. So let's dive in with all of the details. At 11 a.m. Eastern, President Trump kicked off his day in the Oval Office with his intelligence briefing. It was closed to the press because, unlike the Biden circus, this administration doesn't leak like a sieve. The man's focus, he's getting the raw intel that he needs to keep America first. But the real action? Well, right now, as I speak, Trump is on the phone with Ukraine's Zelenskyy. This comes hot off of his call with Russia's Vladimir Putin just yesterday. That's right, Trump is playing 4D chess while the world watches in awe. A White House official says the call is in progress, and a Zelenskyy spokesman confirmed it's going down. Why? Because Trump is the only one who can untangle this Ukraine-Russia mess. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, great guy, by the way, he was out front at 8:27 this morning. He was talking to reporters at a press gaggle, and he laid it out plain and simple. Shuttle diplomacy is difficult. It's tough, but we are going back and forth at every level, driving both sides towards a ceasefire and driving both sides towards the end of this war, end quote. That's what leadership looks like, folks. Waltz said that he's been on the horn with his Russian counterpart and his call lined up with Ukrainian officials today. And someone actually shouted about foreign aid, and Waltz shut it down, didn't even dignify the response. Now, this is Trump's team at work. No games, just results. I mean, look, the fake news wants you to think that Trump's abandoning Ukraine. Absolutely wrong. He's forcing both sides to the table because he knows endless wars drain America dry. Biden and his cronies sent billions overseas while our borders crumbled, and Trump is fixing that. Zelenskyy is probably sweating right now, realizing he's dealing with a real negotiator, not some pushover. This is what strength looks like, and it's why the world respects us once again. And
so that was earlier today outside the White House. We have more. U.S. President Donald Trump suggested in the phone call with Ukrainian President Zelenskyy that the U.S. should take over Ukraine's nuclear power plants. Trump stated the U.S. would better protect the nuclear facilities. That's according to the Financial Times. We have this. Trump tried to help save the UAF soldiers surrounded in Russia, but Zelenskyy assured him they had escaped. Turns out many soldiers did escape, though 70,000 were killed. The willingness of both sides to accept staggering casualties is horrifying. Here is Sky News.
Which they did have. The Ukrainians are holding on still to a little bit of a sliver, about 15 kilometres wide, of southern Kursk region. They've been pushed out of the main area of Sudza, so they've lost the enclave, which they did have from last August, but they've been able to get out. There's been a bit of a scramble over the weekend. They've lost some men, they've certainly lost some equipment, but they certainly have not been surrounded, so they're now moving back onto their own side of the border. In effect, the Kursk operation is now finished.
Okay, let's keep going. We've got more on the readout from the Zelenskyy call. Special Envoy General Kellogg on the call with Zelenskyy. Let's listen to his take.
Where would you like to be? I think the call was absolutely great. Look, this has been really quite amazing to me. I was on a Fox program about 2 months ago, and somebody asked me the question, where would you like to be in the Ukrainian-Russia war ceasefire? I said within the first 100 days. We're at day 58. And you've got President Trump already talking to Putin and Zelenskyy as well. And President Trump's absolutely right. This war wouldn't have started if he was president, but it's been passed to him, and he's got it. And he's moving really, really hard to get it done. And today was just another example. And I think he's really got the teams working exceptionally well. I looked around the Oval today, Martha, and I looked at, we had Secretary Rubio there, it was Mike Waltz was there, you had the Vice President there, you had the Secretary of Defense there, you had the CIA Director there, you had Stephen Miller there, you had Dan Scavino there, you had Susie Wiles there. You talk about an all-star team, and they were all talking and working together and really pulling together. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to head to technical talks. That's a term where you actually have the talks from both sides sitting down to how we get to a comprehensive ceasefire, which leads you to a peace treaty. And we're only at day 58. Okay. And he's driven that. And the talks today were exceptional.
Exceptional talks. We have more. Let's keep going. President Trump said the U.S. is very much on track when it comes to the country's relations with Ukraine and Russia. Breaking news, 8 hours after Trump and Putin's talks led to a 30-day halt to attacks on energy facilities between Russia and Ukraine, UAF struck an oil storage facility. I believe this is the third or even fourth attack by the UAF against Russian oil facilities. And we have this message from President Trump on Truth Social. He says, completed a very good telephone call with Zelenskyy of Ukraine. It lasted 1 hour. Much of the discussion was based on the call made yesterday with Putin in order to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of the requests and needs. We're very much on track. I will ask Secretary of State Rubio and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz to give accurate description of the points discussed. The statement will be put out shortly. And Bricks News says, Trump says he completed a good call and we are on track. Even Zelenskyy posting this 8 hours ago. I had a positive and substantive and frank conversation with the President of the United States. I thanked him for a good and productive start to the work of the Ukraine and American teams in Jeddah on March 11th. This meeting of the teams significantly helped. So this is good news. We're moving forward. Here's the GOP majority whip on Trump's call with President Zelenskyy.
That we've seen since literally within the last hour or two, there was a prisoner exchange going on between the Russians and the Ukrainians. This is the first movement towards peace, I would argue, that we've seen since this war broke out. And hopefully what's going to happen here is exactly what President Trump said he was going to do, is get them both to the table and help them reach an agreement that can bring peace back to the region. Literally within.
And let's keep going. I believe we have a clip here. This is from the press secretary today. Let's weigh in.
From the National Security Advisor. When it comes to Ukraine, I do have a statement for you from the National Security Advisor and also the Secretary of State. First, I'd like to reiterate what the President said earlier following his call with President Zelenskyy this morning. He said he just completed a very good telephone call with President Zelenskyy. It lasted approximately 1 hour. Much of the discussion was based on the call made yesterday with President Putin in order to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of their requests and needs. We are very much on track, and I will ask Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Mike Waltz to give an accurate description of the points discussed. That statement will be put out shortly. Well, I have that statement for you right here. Bear with me as I read it. Today, President Trump and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelenskyy had a fantastic phone conversation. President Zelenskyy thanked President Trump for a productive start for the work of the Ukrainian and American teams in Jeddah on March 11th. The meeting of the senior officials from both nations significantly helped in moving toward ending the war. President Zelenskyy thanked President Trump for the support of the United States, especially the Javelin missiles that President Trump was first to provide in his efforts towards peace. The leaders agreed Ukraine and America will continue working together to bring about a real end to the war, and that lasting peace under President Trump's leadership can be achieved. President Trump fully briefed President Zelenskyy on his conversation with Putin and the key issues discussed. They reviewed the situation in Kursk and agreed to share information closely between their defense staffs as the battlefield situation evolved. President Zelenskyy asked for additional air defense systems to protect his civilians, particularly Patriot missile systems, and President Trump agreed to work with him to find what was available, particularly in Europe. The two leaders also agreed on a partial ceasefire against energy. Technical teams will meet in Saudi Arabia in the coming days to discuss broadening the ceasefire to the Black Sea on the way to a full ceasefire. They agreed this could be the first step toward the full end of the war and ensuring security. President Zelenskyy was grateful for the president's leadership in this effort and reiterated his willingness to adopt a full ceasefire. President Trump also discussed Ukraine's electrical supply and nuclear power plants. He said that the United States could be very helpful in running those plants with its electricity and utility expertise. American ownership of those plants would be the best protection for that infrastructure and support for Ukrainian energy infrastructure. President Zelenskyy also thanked President Trump for continuing to push humanitarian concerns, including the exchange of prisoners of war. He noted they had just had a successful exchange and thanked the president for his leadership on that. President Trump also asked President Zelenskyy about the children who had gone missing from Ukraine during the war, including the ones that had been abducted, and President Trump promised to work closely with both parties to help make sure those children were returned home. They agreed all parties must continue the effort to make a ceasefire work. The presidents noted the positive work of their advisors and representatives, especially Secretary Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Special Envoy Kellogg, and others. The presidents instructed their teams to move ahead with the technical issues related to implementing and broadening the partial ceasefire. The presidents instructed their advisors and representatives to carry out this work as quickly as possible. The presidents emphasized that in further meetings, the teams can agree on all necessary aspects of advancing toward lasting peace and security. That is a lengthy statement that was just given to me, so thanks for bearing with me. Our office will, of course, provide this after. When it comes to Ukraine,
and we have another clip from the press briefing today discussing the conflict in Ukraine.
This conflict needs to end. Yesterday, President Trump and President Putin spoke about the need for peace and a ceasefire in the Ukraine war. Both leaders agreed this conflict needs to end with a lasting peace and also stressed the need for improved bilateral relations between the United States and Russia. President Trump also spoke with President Zelenskyy this morning to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of their needs and requests. As President Trump has said repeatedly, the precious lives and money that both Ukraine and Russia have been spending in this war would be better spent on the needs of their people. This terrible conflict would have never started with President Trump in charge, but he's determined to end it once and for all. Yesterday, President Trump and President Putin spoke about the need for peace and
So the peace negotiations continue, and it's it's a beautiful thing to witness. I was there in the press room today when it all went down, and the conversation. Listening to the mainstream press continually battering with the same question after question after question was a little annoying, especially when I had some fire questions that were ready to go. Right now, I'm looking for another clip here that was from the press conference today. If I can find it, I'm going to play it for you. Here, let's see. I want to try to find this clip. Give me 1 second as I track it down. Okay, we have that. There was that. We just played that clip. Okay, the oil, slow roll. Okay, defense readiness. National Security Advisor. Okay, I think we just played that too. Okay, I'm just looking for one more. There was one good soundbite that she gave us today. And I'm trying to see if I can track it down. Maybe I don't have it. I do have the full press conference. I was there standing on the side of the room, and actually one of our viewers got the picture. I'm going to show it to you. If you didn't see it yet, it's actually quite funny. I'm standing there on the side of the room, and where is that picture? Man, X is acting strange today. Here it is. Just found it. There I am, standing in the press room. All right, so President Trump himself confirmed the positive momentum, stating that the U.S. is very much on track regarding relations with Ukraine and Russia. In his own words, we are very much on track to align both Russia and Ukraine in terms of the requests and needs towards peace. Zelenskyy describing the call as positive, very substantive and frank, thanking President Trump for a good and productive start. This diplomatic breakthrough comes as reports indicate Ukrainian forces struck a Russian oil storage facility near Kavkazaya, despite the recent 30-day halt to attacks on energy facilities negotiated by Trump and Putin. The situation still remains volatile, but one thing is clear: Trump's approach is yielding results where others failed. So here's the question. Is Trump's direct negotiation style with both Russia and Ukraine the key to ending this conflict that the establishment refused to try? Share your thoughts in the comments below and show your support for peace through strength with shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Grab a Next News Network hat or a shirt and show the world where you stand with the real news. Okay. We have some more super chats that just came through. You know the rules here. What happened here? Jonathan. Oh, wait. Okay. Barbara, thank you for all your hard work. $10. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much. And we have Dale, who dropped $5 Canadian. Well, Gary, we conspiracy theorists appear to be the new experts, eh? Yeah, we're always proven right at the end, aren't we? Keep dragging the line of truth. And then Jonathan Foaming just gifted 5 Next News Network memberships 8 minutes ago. Famous Potatoes, Tonal Herbin, Greek Light, Deborah Larson, and Armstrong33 all becoming members. And now you can see that funny video I posted as I was leaving the White House. And I saw Caitlin Collins there. Thank you, Gary, for your service to our republic. Save My Republic gave $19.99. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. All right, we got some more news to crank out for you here. Let's keep this rolling right along. The CIA threat today was serious. Holy cow. We got some news. Let's figure this out. Some breaking news out of Langley, Virginia, where a massive police presence, including SWAT teams and the Fairfax County Police Bomb Squad, descended on the CIA headquarters. Reports indicate an armed individual made threats at the facility's gate, prompting an immediate lockdown. What makes this incident particularly suspicious is the timing. It comes just hours after the release of the JFK files. As one user noted, this happens the day after the JFK files release. Radio communications in the area have been encrypted, limiting information about the suspect's status or casualties. CIA officials confirmed the incident with a joint investigation underway, led by internal CIA security and assisted by local SWAT teams. The situation remains fluid and dangerous. The SWAT teams secure CIA headquarters against external threats. You need similar protection against internal threats, like the CIA facing armed standoffs after the JFK file revelations. Nearly half of Americans face dangerous high blood pressure, with only 25% having it under control. This triple action formula with white mulberry leaf and cinnamon bark acts like your personal security detail, regulating blood pressure and balancing blood sugar while intelligence agencies handle national crisis. Now, the classified JFK files may reveal government secrets, but there's no secret to heart health. This all-natural formula works to take control during these uncertain times. You can visit boostwithgary.com and receive 40% off. It's linked down below. Okay, so this was 10 hours ago. Tim Pool breaking this story. Let's listen.
Breaking news right now. We have major breaking news right now. The CIA HQ is being swarmed by cops. SWAT has been deployed. My understanding is a very serious situation. A man with a gun was outside making threats and opening fire. I believe they say he was firing into the air, not targeting individuals, but we don't know exactly what's happening other than, it's getting insane out there. The escalation is getting absolutely insane. More Tesla dealerships have been attacked, this time in Chicago. There is a map from Newsweek showing all the different dealerships that were attacked. Jimmy Kimmel lightly insinuates people should, we got to be careful here. Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert both said, don't do it, with a wink, wink. Yeah, basically saying, go do it. Colbert was a bit more explicit in celebrating the attacks, as the audience laughed and cheered as the left engages in overt acts of terror. You've got, from the highest levels, politicians cheering the demise of Tesla stock and its company. And then you've got the lowest levels, far-left extremists, firebombing and torching buildings and even injuring themselves.
Here we have more. The Democrats probably set this up to spin it all on Trump. That's what Melanie Crump says, replying to Cat Turd. Mark my words, they'll say him releasing the JFK files caused a threat to the CIA, and that this, whatever it is a registered Republican. Hannah Murphy, major shooter alert, armed man barricades near CIA headquarters, threat level increased. This is from Daily News 3 blog. You can see the photograph of the moment. Geopolitics Monitor, a person made threats at the gate of the CIA headquarters Wednesday morning, prompting a large police presence, including Fairfax County Police Bomb Squad. CIA officials confirmed the incident with the investigation led by CIA and assisted by SWAT. Let's take a look at some of these local reports.
Large police presence. We are following breaking news out of the D.C. area. I want to head back live to Fairfax County, Virginia. This is a live look right here, and you can see that the photographer now panning in on a drone right outside this scene right here. This is a live look near a large police presence near the CIA headquarters. Right now, the photographer panning in on that drone right here. But take a look at this. This is just 2 blocks away from the CIA headquarters in Fairfax County, Virginia. You can see just how many police officers and vehicles are stationed there right now. A very large police presence, currently just 2 blocks away from CIA headquarters in McLean, Virginia. This is the very latest. As you can see, there does appear to be a SWAT team alongside county officials as they gear up along with other officials. A bomb squad, according to Fox 5 DC, also appears to be on the scene, although it is unconfirmed if there is a bomb in the area. There are reports also of a man outside the CIA building. This, of course, has raised concerns, and you're taking a live look at an armored vehicle, one of the tanks right there, used in SWAT situations for, of course, security purposes, lights flashing as it is gearing to drive down this road. This is a live look from about 2 blocks away from the CIA headquarters, a 2-block perimeter right here. And of course, traffic shut down in this area. We also wanted to share this alert from Fairfax County Police right here, as they have issued a traffic alert indicating that traffic has been shut down on Dolly Madison Boulevard in both directions between Georgetown Park and Seville Lane in McLean for a barricade incident. That is what police in Fairfax County are calling this, a barricade incident at the CIA headquarters. The Post also goes on to say that the Police Special Operations Division is on scene assisting. It also says, please follow police destruction. So another live look here at the scene 2 blocks away. This is a live look from 2 blocks away as SWAT team members and police have established a perimeter around the CIA headquarters. We do know that Fox 5 DC is on the scene gathering details of this breaking news. Little information at this moment. We know that police are on scene along with a SWAT team, and according to Fox 5 DC, the bomb squad has also been called in, although it is still unconfirmed whether there is a bomb in the area.
And there's other local reports too. Let's take a look at this one. McLean, Virginia. This geopolitics monitor, you can see the police presence is thick. Here's more.
Fairfax, Virginia, to be specific. And you're taking a live look at a very heavy police presence near the CIA headquarters, and taking a look.
And let's take a look at this clip here.
Okay, welcome back. Looks like activity. We don't have a lot of details of this. We're showing you a live shot of the headquarters of Central Intelligence in Langley, Virginia. That's in Northern Virginia. It looks like a police presence. There's some barricade up. I want to put that in the box, and as we know more here at Real America's Voice War Room, we will update you. But something quite odd, and we'll get up to date on what's happening. That's Langley right there in the box. Central Intelligence Agency headquarters. Looks like a large police presence.
Let's keep going. Keep digging through it. Update: CIA headquarters admits heavy police presence after person made threats. SWAT team responding to reports of armed individual.
Live look at a very heavy.
Diligent denizen posting the same video again. So this is very suspicious, of course. I think Melania Crump put it perfectly when she said the Democrats probably set this up to spin it all on Trump. Mark my words, they'll say him releasing the JFK files caused a threat to the CIA, and that this, whatever it is a registered Republican. So we're going to continue to monitor this as more details continue to unfold. But the timing of the standoff can't be dismissed as mere coincidence. There are no coincidences in this town. The JFK files released just before this incident have long been a source of intense public interest and speculation. And it's at the CIA headquarters, right? Several social media platforms buzzing with theories about the connection. SWAT and police responding to an active shooter around CIA headquarters. This comes right after JFK files were dropped. We the people want to know what's going on. Tim Cass reporting the facility on lockdown after the armed man attacked the facility. SWAT deployed. The authorities have remained tight-lipped about the potential motives, but the question hanging over this incident is unmistakable. Is this armed standoff at CIA headquarters connected to revelations in the newly released JFK files, or is this timing purely coincidental? Share your thoughts in the comments section below and show your support for government transparency with our Next News gear. Shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right. Let's go. All right, let's open up the big chat and see what is happening in the main feed. 10 seconds ago, Laura Loomer just posted, "It's obvious to everyone as we know poorly I'm treated despite everything I've done. It's an elephant in the room. Enough is enough already." She was replying to herself. What happened? Starting to think that no matter how hard I work or how much I expose, I will never be enough for the GOP gatekeepers who go out of their way to block me and silence my reports. What do you do when you're never enough? What do you do when you can never be enough, no matter your output? Well, Laura does a hell of a job. I'll definitely give her that. Mike Johnson targeting Kamala territory to lock down GOP majority. House Speaker Mike Johnson is done being held hostage by a handful of swing votes. Mario Nafal reporting that the NRCC dropped a 26-district hit list for 2026, and half of them went for Kamala in 2024. NRCC Chair Rich Hudson, Republicans are taking the fight straight to these House Democrats in their districts. They're not just chasing Trump district Dems, they're going after bold targets like Jared Moskowitz and Darren Soto, banking on Hispanic voter momentum. Meanwhile, Democrats call it false bravado, but the GOP is clearly on offense. Purple seats are now the battleground. Source Axios and Speaker Johnson. Wow. What is this? Here's a video clip from this. This is this is an older clip, so let's not go there. Natalie Winters. I did not see her at the press room today. Julie Kelly calling this savage. You want to go down in history as the man who took down President Trump. What is going on here? Oh, wow.
Obviously, you're trying to sabotage. Well, I know Christopher Steele probably wanted to go down in history as someone that colluded with the Clinton campaign to take down President Donald J. Trump, but I really think that you represent probably the ultimate grifter in the American political space. For you to even come on here, obviously you're trying to sabotage what President Trump is doing when it comes to Russia and Ukraine, but to sit here, what is it, nearly a decade after you tried to smear President Trump as a Russian asset, to then say, well, I think he's a Russian asset, but even though I'm really good at my job and create all these intelligence reports, it's just sort of a feeling that I have. I'm sorry, what stones do you even have left to turn over to try to corroborate your claim that President Trump is a Russian asset? You what? Weaponized FISA courts, surveillance, warrants, not just domestic spy agencies, international spy agencies too, the entire DNC apparatus, a bunch of political operatives and registered foreign agents here in the United States. The American people would really appreciate it if you would stop injecting your efforts to curtail and totally tank the America First movement by smearing anyone who doesn't want to get involved in forever wars or continue the needless and ceaseless dying of in Ukraine and in Russia, just so you can sit there from your nice perch and just continue to defend the globalist world order by continuing to fan the flames of conflict in Russia and Ukraine. And you know what? The same people that you ally yourself with here in the United States, you think you're so good at gathering intelligence. Last time I checked, it was the 51 intel agency officers, spies, who said that the Hunter Biden hard drive, which I've reported on firsthand, it's legitimate. You want to talk about president's sons who are involved in businesses with foreign countries? Well, I'd like to introduce you to Hunter Biden, right? When those 51 people that I'm sure that you know all too well, you were probably likely involved with the drafting of that letter, said that was Russian disinformation. Well, it turned out that that was true, and shame on you for the last decade trying to inject the idea that smearing President Trump as a Russian agent or a Russian asset is somehow going to tank the MAGA movement. It's about putting America first, and the fact that you can still sit here and you have no actual evidence beside one random Russian meeting, and oh, we need to just continue to get more evidence. You're a complete political hack and grifter, and I wish the American political scene didn't have your voice in it.
All right, well, Christopher Steele, you're about to leave us because you're only here for this part of the panel, but your response finally to that.
My response is that I'm a professional intelligence officer and an expert on that part of the world. I'm not a politician.
Was the Hunter Biden hard drive Russian disinformation then, if you're such an expert?
Let him finish. Let him finish. So I've been a loyal and close ally of the United States for probably most of the last 40 years. I've worked extremely closely with officials working for administrations both Republican and Democrat. I have a very strong US client base for which I've worked and produced information over many years, none of whom have ever made any such allegation against me. And it's palpable nonsense to claim that I'm in hoc with politicians.
I'm so glad the Clinton campaign didn't say that about you.
Well, I never worked for the Clinton campaign. I never had any contact with the Clinton campaign. That's the reality of it.
You're a subcontractor.
I think Fusion GPS would beg to differ.
I produced a report for a partner firm in Washington, and the results of that report made me, as an ally of the United States, as I would have expected an American counterpart to do, to report back in what I have found to the contacts I had in the FBI at the time.
Okay.
That was the right thing to do, and I'm proud that I did.
Well,
All right,
we're
going to leave it there. Look, I think everyone's had their say about
I'd love
Christopher
his
Steele.
expert opinion.
Let's leave it there. I want to move on to other subjects. Christopher Steele, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it.
Oh, man, that was absolutely savage. Natalie Winters, man. Go girl. Wow. All right, well, that wraps up tonight's edition of the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you from our Washington, D.C. studio after spending the day at the White House, getting an inside look at the Trump administration the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. What a powerful show it's been. We've tracked the complete implosion of the Democrat Party as Trump's leadership continues to deliver results that are impossible to ignore. The administration's America First policies are transforming our economy, with manufacturing surging beyond expectations and American companies returning home from overseas. They said it couldn't be done, but we're seeing it happen in real time. We've also witnessed the left's disturbing campaign of violence against American innovation, targeting Tesla facilities and conservative voices. As Elon Musk so perfectly stated, they're attacking because we're succeeding. The desperate flailing of a dying ideology. And President Trump's diplomatic breakthrough with Ukraine represents exactly why the American people elected him. He gets results where others fail. After years of escalation and billions in taxpayer money flowing overseas, Trump's direct approach has created more momentum for peace in 59 days than the previous administration managed in 4 years. We can't forget the alarming situation that we're still monitoring at the CIA headquarters, where SWAT teams responded to an armed individual just hours after the JFK files were released. The timing raises serious questions that demand answers, questions we will continue investigating in the days ahead. Now, each of these stories shares a common thread. They expose the stark contrast between an administration that delivers for the American people and an opposition consumed by obstructionism and ideological warfare. I want to thank everyone who sent in super chats and rumble rants during tonight's broadcast. $115.92 and 29 new members. Your support and engagement make this show what it is, a platform for truth in an age of deception. Special thanks to everyone for your generous contributions. If you value this kind of honest reporting, please consider supporting our work by donating through the links in the description. Your contribution, no matter the size, helps us continue bringing you the stories the mainstream media will not touch. And don't forget to check out our merch shop at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Did you get a hat yet? Did you get a mug? Did you get some swag to show the world where you get your real news? Well, make sure you do, because it's flying off the shelves, and I want to see you wearing it on the street when we take our picture together. Now, so tell a friend about the Raw Feed. Text in the link. That's how we grow, person to person, patriot to patriot. This is day 59, week 9 of President Trump's historic second term. The fight to restore America continues, and we will be right here on the front lines covering every moment of it. And Miss Heidi Ho coming in with a $4.99 super chat just as we're closing the show. And it was a super sticker, a character holding their head in their hands saying, "You're my number one." Well, you are all my number one. Until next time, I'm Gary Franchi for the Raw Feed. God bless, and God bless America.